Yeah, not my brightest moment. I'm a little concerned. See that? Hello everybody, this is Tyler from... Oh my god, I need the accordion. Hello everybody, this is Tyler from Tcustoms, and today I'm going to be showing you how I restored this antique monocarbon piano accordion. In the last video, I went in depth into the actual condition that accordion was in when I bought it and how I bought it for a single penny. If you're curious on how that accordion sounded before the restoration, I'll have a link at the end if you want to check it out. First, I'll remove these brittle straps. I'm honestly surprised these lasted as long as I did. I'm definitely just going to replace these at one point. While these shoelaces certainly add character, I'm thinking I'm gonna, just sew something new to keep the bell together later. Now I want to remove as many little bits and parts as possible just to make the cleaning process go as smoothly as possible. Next, I'll remove the grill cover and the cane piece of mesh behind it. At this point, I can open up the bells of the accordion and see how bad everything actually is. Luckily for us, or me, there's no real signs of mold or water damage on the inside, which is good. I'm taking out the reed blocks so they just don't get damaged during the cleaning process. Yummy. Now we'll take out this surprisingly shiny hardware and some not so shiny hardware, but maybe I'll do that one later because the keys are blocking it. Okay, well, this next part may not seem that hard in theory. This was honestly one of the hardest parts of the entire restoration. There's this long pin that goes through all of the keys on the accordion, and at first I thought I'd be able to pull it out no problem, but it shouldn't have been this hard. I just started off with trying a bunch of brute force tactics of pulling out, although I eventually realized I should number all the keys, so just in case they come popping out the accordion, like that's going to happen. That way I'll know how to go back inside at the end of the restoration. Come on! Okay, I think I have an idea. That worked better than it should have. Well, that clip only took a few seconds for you guys. It took me hours. Hopefully getting it back together isn't nearly as hard. Finally, with these keys, other way I can finally remove those two screws and their washers. And these little wire things. And like a moron, I tried to pry the treble side apart, only to realize later that there were still 4 more screws that were literally buried by dust that I just couldn't see. Now for all of you following along at home, make sure you keep all of your hardware in a nice safe place that we don't lose any of it. All you jokers probably know that, Hank. So I just used this old Kroger brand lunch meat container and just chucked all the parts in there. Oh yeah, anything really works. You could use, I don't know, something funny and just put it in there. I can't think of a joke. Yeah, not my brightest moment. I also may have done some destruction off camera. I began to use a toothbrush to remove the dust, but quickly realized that it wasn't working. So I eventually switched to this soft wire brush, and that looked a lot better. I then vacuumed out as much as possible. Some of these little frames, they held on really tight. If anyone knows what these are, please let me know. I'm a little concerned. There seems to be a lot of them in this accordion. For this next part, I'm just going to move the reed somewhere safer. That way, I just don't want to worry about the breaking, because that's not something I can really repair cheaply without, driving down to Pennsylvania to Liberty Bellows. And just as before, I was back cleaning the accordion. Now I'm going to break out one of my favorite tools. An off-brand magic eraser. Now these guys truly are magic. Just add a bit of water and, well, yeah, it works like magic. I then repeated this cleaning process for all of the other keys, which took a little bit of time. Here's the thing, with any instrument restoration process, it takes forever, because you gotta do the exact same process for every single key. Now for this key I broke, I'm just going to take some super glue and masking tape and glue it back together. Let's keep that between the two of us, alright? Now that all the keys are cleaned, I looked around and found some old leather that I used on a different project. And used the leather to replace all the old brittle leather on all of the keys. So I took it, measured it, cut it to length, and glued it down. After I tore off the old pads, I sanded it flat again, and then used some rubber cement to glue the leather on, just in case I wanted to remove it later. Although I eventually switched to E6000 glue. Where's that? This stuff right here. See that? Yeah, I eventually switched to this stuff, which worked great for this application. When that one finished drying, I eventually went to go do the rest, only to realize that they were already finished. Huh. Here's the pin that goes through all the keys. I started out with some Scotch-Brite, but eventually switched to some high grit sandpaper. Like, I think I started with 1500, went to 2500 grit, and just put in a drill and just... and made it nice and shiny. Well, no one's ever going to see this. This was definitely worth the time it took. I then took the magic eraser and started cleaning off the entire body of the accordion. And you can see how much of a difference it actually made. Before, I feel like I get hepatitis A through Z just looking at the thing, but now I feel like I can actually comfortably play it. Well, I could go back and redo all the plastic, or I think it's celluloid, on the accordion. I kind of want to keep some of the damaged, like, patina to it, because this accordion has a backstory. Well, I don't know it. I kind of want to keep that. You know, it makes this instrument unique. It shows its age and its history that will never be known to me. Now that it's all clean and no longer just constantly triggering my allergies whenever I touch it, I can go through and do a rough assembly to make sure all the new leather works. If it doesn't, well, God, ripping off that E6000 glue is going to be terrible. I probably should have just stuck with rubber cement, but it will work. It'll work. It's gonna work, right? Please? So I just put a few of the keys on, tape over the rest of the holes, and listen carefully, just if there are any ear leaks. And I started panicking, realizing how many hours it would take me not only to recut all the leather, but also take off each thing and sand it flat again. I started putting pieces of paper on top of the accordion just to see if they moved when the air went up and down, see if they got blown around to see where the leaks were coming from. However, nothing blew around. Notice the back corner of the accordion by the bellows. Well, yeah, that explains it. So now that we know that the keys are good, or at least better than before, we can move on to the next step, which is going to be replacing some of the felt on the keyboard side. So first I use an X-Acto knife to carefully remove all of the old felt on the treble side. Now that I have it all cleaned out, I can go measure and cut the felt to length. Using some wood glue, I attached the felt to the accordion, using one section to fill in most. Once I got that piece done, I tried to cut another to length on the accordion, but this shitty dollar store box cutter I got a few years ago that I haven't ever sharpened wasn't cutting it. Literally. So I eventually got this pizza cutter I stole from my local Little Caesars, which works significantly better at cutting the felt. We can now move on fixing some other problems with the keys. Now if you go back and look at an older clip, you can see that some of the keys are actually getting caught on each other. Like the leather is just too much and it's just getting caught like that. So we'll just have to go and trim both sides on every key. This is going to take a while. I'm just going to turn on some boy and get to work.
I was gonna say, I clicked on this video and it's what this was. Fucking sick. Yeah, I guess. I mean, but also they didn't just walk past and film this kind of slide in there. I don't know. They were like coming with a big film crew and you're like, oh, we're doing a video. Do you want to just come down like do this?
Now that that's all done, we can go on and start reassembling the instrument. Now, I felt bad putting this rusty screw back in the accordion, so I gave the top a little bit of a sand just to make it look a bit nicer, and screwed it in. Then I found these extra washers and ate them as just a nice mid-work treat. The shiny hardware got put back into place. Along with the once dust-buried screws that almost caused me to rip the instrument in half. Recently I've been watching some piano tuners videos and I've seen them use graphite powder to lubricate the piano keys, so I wanted to try that on my accordion. So I carefully put it inside the holes where the key sat, although I eventually just applied it directly to both sides of the key and that seemed to work a lot better. And honestly, this seemed to make a slight difference at the end, especially with some noise and a lot of the actual action of the key. It felt a lot smoother. Each key got progressively harder and harder as more and more friction was being applied to the actual pin that goes through. At the end, it was nearly impossible to do, but a bench vise and a wooden hammer always seems to do the trick. Now that we have all the keys into place, their misalignment is very noticeable. Luckily, this is one of the easiest fixes you can do when restoring an accordion. Just hold down one of the leather pads and kind of push the top and the middle section of that metal part and just bend it down. It's quite simple. Keep massaging it until it gets down to the right height. Just be careful while you're doing it. Don't be a brain dead bozo. I broke one while doing it. I'll just take some super glue and forget it ever happened. To get all the keys to the exact height, I found that playing cards were a good method. Just stack it to the height you want, slide it underneath the keys, and just see what keys are sticking up. And then just adjust the ones that need to be adjusted. Make sure to test everything, especially the black keys, because some of them are catching like this one. Just like all the other ones, you should be good. With all the keys level and working, you now put the grill back on. Now, I'm not going to put mesh back on, mainly because I just don't have mesh to put on. So right now, I'll just leave it completely open. I'll put these two pieces of wire on to help prop it up and adjust them to the proper angle. That way it actually holds up the grill. Next, I'll adjust these things that hold this grill in place. As you can see, the grill is very deformed, even completely bent down in the middle. But because it's soft sheet metal, bending it back to shape will be as easy as calling Batman vs. Superman a bad movie. Even though it isn't, I'll make some adjustments until it fits right in. Perfect. Now we'll just place back the 2 other nails in place. This side's a little tight for some reason. This side's a little loose. Looks like they used 2 different screws. Much better. The back plate's secured with these push pins and these stupidly tiny flathead screws. I lost my screwdriver pen, so I had to just use a little bit. Finally, I can put the strap holders back and can call the treble side finished. Next, we'll work on the bass side, but for now, we can call this video finished. Thanks for watching.